Hello and welcome to Jesus for Asia Now. I'm Natalie Wood, and today I have special guests with me, Robbie and Casey Norton from Thailand. Welcome to the studio today.
Thank you.
It's good to be here.
We're so glad you're here.
We're glad to be here.
This is a rare privilege. You haven't visited America for a while. In fact, last time we sat down together was at your place in Thailand.
It was.
And you took us on a tour.
Right.
So we'll have to have our viewers go back and find that one and watch it so they can see the walkthrough. But today we kind of want to talk a little bit about how you got there, and then we'll go on with what God's been doing since then. Okay. So one of you start us out, like, how did you end up in Sukotai, Thailand?
Well, I think we largely have you and John to blame. You came to the church that we were attending in Waynesboro, Virginia, and during those meetings, we just sensed God prompting us to be some of those people that go. And when we approached you about it, it was Sukotai that was mentioned, that it had been on your hearts for a long time. And so then God laid Sukotai on our hearts as well.
Okay, so how did you start out there?
From the time we decided to leave and go for Thailand, we gave a 1 year, well, I guess you'd call it a fleece. We told God we need to be there in a year. Long story short, we got everything that needed to be done within a year, and we actually were in Thailand before the house closed. And we stepped out in faith, and the real estate agent that we were using, it didn't close until about a week after we got into Thailand, I think. And so that was a huge blessing. And then once we were there, our oldest twin, Levi, he had a history of asthma, and he had an episode that landed us in the hospital for a few days. But it was right at the time we needed to leave to go out of the country to get our non-O visa. And so there was a lot of prayer that went into that. And he actually was dismissed from the hospital the day we left to go to Vietnam to get our visa that was needed.
Nothing like stressing. You have a sick child, and then you're supposed to be leaving the country and all this stuff, and you're like, Lord, is this really you?
Yeah.
But he had led you. And
the reality is they didn't actually release him. We removed him from the hospital kind of against their
so that you could go and get your visas.
Yeah, because we believed so strongly that God was saying, just trust me. You know, this is my plan, whether it looks like it's going to work or not.
So that's a key thing right there. You know, you talked about a fleece, and you're talking about you believed so strongly. It's like you had to have that connection with God.
Yeah.
Like through all of this, you had to have that. And I'm sure as you were trying to get ready to go, all along the way, there's all these things that it's like, man, you know, would this be happening if we weren't going to Thailand? And
then you have the voices of the people saying these things are happening because you're pushing through doors that God is trying to close. And so being connected enough to hear God speak over that and reconvict you again and again, I think is what really keeps you putting one foot in front of the other.
So you have to be continually connecting.
Yeah. And it's interesting looking back, thinking we were connected then, and hear God so differently now, that I wonder that we were able to hear him at all at that point. So it's just so encouraging to me as we're working with people. And, you know, we tend to compare with other people, and God works with us at each phase in the process of sanctification that we're at.
That's really neat because, like you said, it's different now.
Yeah.
But it's like he knew exactly what you needed, what you would hear then, and that's what he gave you. Yeah. And now he knows that your relationship with him is deeper, and he's speaking in a slightly different way, or maybe a totally different way, but it's still what you will hear.
Right. Yeah. I think initially it was largely other voices. He would prompt other people to contact us or tell us something. And in fact, at church, when we were sharing a little bit about leaving, there were 3 individuals that came in, and he used those people to speak to us, warning us of what we were going to encounter when we were in Thailand. You know, after they shared with us, they left the sanctuary, and the pastor tried to get them, and they were gone. They had so I don't know that they were angels, but I don't know that they weren't.
Right.
But God knew at that point that we needed to hear audible voices. And as the process has gone on, it's been more, he's been able to speak to the heart and the mind individually. So,
Wow. All right. So let's go back to the story. So you went and got the visa. And then what happened when you came back to Thailand?
right after we got to Thailand in Chiang Mai, the air quality was so poor. And our son was struggling so much that we knew that God was directing us to Sukotai sooner than what we expected.
Because you were going to do language study, right?
Yeah, we were going to do
Mai.
at least 6 months there. So we went to visit Sukotai and we found a house to live in. And they were, immediately willing to rent to us. There were no spirit houses on the property. That's where we were set to move there right after we came back from Vietnam getting the visa.
Oh, it's a cute house.
Yeah. Lots of good memories there.
Yeah.
The one thing that we knew that God directed us to this house is our neighbor right next to it, the house that you see. They spoke a lot of English, and they were a huge help to us in helping us to adapt to the culture and just be able to find the food.
Yeah. And they had kids the ages of our kids.
Yes.
So right away our children had
Friends.
people to interact with, and that was such a blessing.
God knew what you needed.
He did.
Shortly after moving into Sukotai, we were contacted by some other missionaries about receiving two kids that needed a home.
We had been in Sukotai, I think, 2 weeks at this point, and in Thailand for 6 weeks. And when Wind and Sky arrived. So we couldn't speak any Thai, and we really didn't know anything much about their culture or anything, and we're raising them. And I think God puts you in situations that are absolutely humanly impossible so that you cannot take credit for anything good that comes from it. And when I look at Wind and Sky and just see those faces, so many memories flood over me that at that time just felt like, what are we doing?
You're overwhelmed.
How are we going to do
in
this?
the moment, yeah.
We can't even talk to them. And and you just know that God sustains.
And, it's interesting how he reminds us of our dependence, because like you said, humanly impossible. But it's like with him holding your hand, you're like, Lord, don't let go of me because I can't let go of you because this is impossible, And yet he walked you through it.
Yeah. And
I'm sure it was hard many times.
Oh, yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yes, because they didn't speak any English either.
No. When he puts you in a position to do something that you're good at, then the tendency is to feel like you got this, like no big deal. And you very easily forget how important that vital connection is. But when you're in a situation that you're going to drown, if there isn't some power greater than your own doing, walking you through it, you don't forget.
Because I know there was a lot of layers into what happened there with these first two kids that I'm sure it would take us a while to recount all the stories. But the fact that God was there and you recognized that, there's no way we're going to survive this without him.
It's been remarkable to watch what God has done. We had Wind and Sky for 9 months, just Wind and Sky along with our boys before he brought any more kids. And looking back, especially as quickly as more came onto the scene, I'm so thankful that we had that 9 months to adapt, to learn a little bit of their language and culture, them to learn a little bit of ours before God started bringing them much more rapidly. We didn't have a lot of periods of time when this got to the point where it is now, where there was 9 months of
just the first two.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful for that time.
After the 9-month period, we got Gao and Fasai. And then a couple days later, Jean came along.
One of the things that is confusing for people is often people call what we have now an orphanage, but the reality is it's not, because they're not orphans. The licensing is for a home, a children's home. And so these are just kids who are at risk for things like, falling into prostitution or drugs and alcohol or even being trafficked.
Well, and one thing people don't understand is in some of these cultures, if the mother dies or the father dies, and then that parent, is so poor, then the child becomes more at risk. But then also if they get in a relationship with someone else, many times that person is like, I don't want your kids from this previous marriage. And so then they may as well be orphans because they can't be with their parent for their parent to have this other relationship. And so it's not really an orphanage situation anyway, but they are unable to care for them properly or unwanted by one person or the other.
And it is important, I think, to make that distinction because we do have some children who their parents love them and they just know they can't protect them or they can't provide for them. And so that's why their kids are with us because of love. And then other times it's more neglect.
Because of unwanted or neglect. Yeah.
I have to share really quick, by the end of the first year we had 6. And the interesting thing about a couple of the children is Namwan came and we had Fasai who did not speak Thai. So we have another language added in and we're learning a little bit of Thai and then we get these children and one of them doesn't speak Thai. And
so what language?
She spoke Hmong.
Hmong, okay.
It's a hill tribe.
Yeah. Right. So she was terrified. Just her whole life
all the time
had
she
changed.
Didn't know anything.
Right.
And no way to communicate. Oh my goodness, poor thing.
And then God sent this young girl who we've often wondered why she's with us because, from a human perspective, her family could care for her and they do love her. But yet here she is. We've been asked to take her in. We didn't know that her family was the way they are, that they had this ability. So she's there and she speaks Hmong. And she is just such a calm personality and so mature for her age. And so she was this vessel that God used to really bring peace to Fasai. And Namwan, she just embraced that role right from the beginning. She was so good with her. I've been so grateful because Namwan has continued in that trend as she's been with us now for 5 years. She's very nurturing and she's very mature for her years, but also Gao.
So helping the other children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not just Fasai, but
right.
Fasai.
Yeah. Because most of our children are Hmong. But Gao, Fasai's brother, he couldn't speak English, but he could understand us to translate it into Thai for the other kids.
Oh,
so God gave him this gift of not so much the language, but the ability to understand
it. Wow.
And at first we thought, was like, is he being accurate? And so we had our neighbors who could speak English come and listen. And she said, yeah, like
he really does understand.
And that was such a neat thing.
But he couldn't
for her.
speak to you.
No, but he could tell them what we were saying. So
let's go back and talk about the family. Okay. So your family, how many children do you have?
We have 8 children.
When we came to Thailand, we brought 5. Hannah and Abby were in their teen. I think Abby was 14 and Hannah was 16. And so they've finished growing up, finished school, and then they just stepped into ministry with us. And they're still there with us serving. Abby's 21 now and Hannah's 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have Levi, one of the twins we talked about.
We have Levi, Quinn, and Zach, our younger boys. They're now at this point, they're 14 and 11. And then we have 3 older boys that are adults, 28, 26, and 25.
Okay. So you took 5 of them with you.
Yeah.
Wow. And they're all ministering alongside you.
Yeah, in progressive ways.
In various ways, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the young ones can't really help a lot except to be friends.
Good examples.
Good examples. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
So you have the English school for a while, but you have the church plants. So then what's going on? What else is happening at this time?
A little food outreach program, and but we knew that little house that we were living in, it just wasn't, there was nowhere for the kids to play. It was just too, it wasn't fit for the number of kids that we had.
And by this time, how many kids did you have?
We had 6 Thai, and then
plus your own.
The 3 little boys, and then Hannah and Abby.
So that's a lot of people in one house.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was only a 3-bedroom house.
Right.
Okay.
And we also, the neighborhood that we were in was a lot of government workers. And so you had a lot of eyes on you, and we weren't licensed or anything. But so this property that we're at now, I think showed up on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And the price just seemed too good to be true. And we went and looked at it, and they had some previous prospective buyers where the deal fell through. And so they had lowered the price, and they allowed us to enter into a 2-year purchase agreement. So yeah, and that's where we live. And I remember the people that we had gone with, they said, it is like God built this 40 years ago, but was looking at your family and knew that, he was putting these various things in place so they could be developed for what you need. And that's what it has seemed like.
That was an amazing thing to me, watching from a distance. Like, man, there's this shell thing, and now it's a building, and
Right.
It's like, well, it's great. The roof was already there,
It
and just different things like that. It was so nicely prepared.
It was
for you in advance.
Such a gift to get there after being in that small
Tiny
place
home.
and have the kids back outside and engaged with nature. Yeah.
So how
such a
many
blessing.
acres or hectares? I mean, I speak acre because, we're in America, but
Roughly 9.
rye, that's right. In
Yes.
Thailand, they use rye.
It's 24 rye, I believe, and 9.5 acres.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So that's a lot of outdoor space
Lot
for
of
the
outdoor
children.
space.
A lot.
as you were saying, there was quite a few buildings on the property, and the property needed renovation. Most of the buildings needed some upkeep and everything. And in the water, our water supply came from the pond.
Oh,
And if you saw the pond, you would.
oh,
It was not a good
Let's get
situation
sick.
for yes, for bathing in or anything like that. And so the water tanks and everything were there. And what they did was they took a sump pump and just dropped it in the pond and filled the water tanks up.
wow.
We were able to, with the help of JFA, get a well put in, and now the well actually supplies the water to the property.
And we're very thankful.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
Wow, I'm
So,
thankful in your behalf.
Um,
So the well water goes into the same
Tanks.
tanks.
Yes, we
So
cleaned
you
it.
didn't have to do new storage tanks or anything like that.
we actually
Okay.
cleaned the tanks out inside and
Oh,
everything,
yeah, I'm sure.
and got it cleaned out enough to where that it was usable again.
Okay.
And
That's good.
but while we were doing that, we were also renovating buildings to get them used for the different things. And like this building right next to the water tank is the chapel that we use now. We had other buildings that we were constructing dormitories, but during the time that we were constructing and building everything, our family kept getting bigger.
Wow,
So,
that's a lot of children.
yes.
And it looks like you have maybe some adults there helping now.
Yeah, we have some staff. At this point, some of them are government required in order to maintain the license, but
At the beginning, it wasn't that way.
no, it was just I can't cook Thai food very well or very economically. I think at this point we have maybe 8 staff members on site, which
Okay.
is helpful. It frees us. Our family does the hands-on care of the children and raising the children, but then having the staff really helps to allow us to focus on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we moved there, we only had 6 children, and then 3 months later, we doubled that.
Yeah, at some point, I think by April of 2022, maybe, we ended up with 24. And right now we have 26. So,
Wow.
although some have gone, some have been able to return to their families.
Okay.
And
So different ones have come now.
yeah.
Okay.
We don't have reliable transportation, so we can't even transport all the children into the church. So it's nice that we have the chapel. It is dual function. It is our evening worship building, and then also our Sabbath worship.
Sabbath worship.
Yeah,
Oh, I like that picture. That's fun.
yeah. And that's that building that you were seeing earlier.
We started out on the far right side, being the boys' dormitory, and then it switched to a nurse's station, and it still has a nurse's room in there, but Austin and Lillian are living in it. We kind of remodeled it a little bit inside and put a kitchenette and everything so that they could have a house for themselves
Okay.
while they're over there. And then
Austin and Lillian are helpers from America.
Yeah.
yes.
And Lillian is very special to us. She was our daughter's best friend. So, and they did mission trek together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very sweet to see them embrace coming in and helping you guys. And they love it so much. I'm so happy.
We love them so much. The children love them so much.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
it's really awesome. Okay, so now you're a licensed children's home. Has this changed the way the children see home?
You mean as far as it being called a children's home now?
Yeah,
the
do
way
they like
see-
feel like it's an institution now, or
That is definitely something that we have to tread carefully and try to find balance, because the way that the social workers and everything are trained is that it is supposed to be more of an orphanage. And so they have more of that mindset, and the kids don't want that, and we don't want that. And so trying to find, to comply with everything that is required, but also find ways where we can maintain as home-like an atmosphere as possible. And God keeps bringing the right people or the right ideas that keep it from turning into an institution. And I think the kids know. Now, there's things about it that they wish weren't the way they are, but I think they know that they're loved, not just by us, but, ultimately, many of the kids now recognize what God is doing for them, in spite of, maybe the authority that is trying to turn it into something that they don't want.
yeah?
The kids don't want.
Well, as long as they know
Yeah,
that it's a home.
right.
It's not just a children's home by the government's label. It's a
Yeah.
home, and I know that they get that from you guys.
When they put the sign up out front, the kids came home from school, and one of our girls was walking across the pond with me, and she put her hand up and she pointed and she said, "That sign says that we're kids that people threw away." And of course, the sign just has the name Bantayim Children's Home, but that's how she saw that. And so it was good insight to see how something so simple like a sign could really impact where they were mentally
how
about
they
the whole
view
thing. Yeah,
But it also means that they have a home
yeah,
and they're loved there.
yeah.
So
And God has opened their eyes to be able to see that. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So during this whole process, having kids from a totally different culture, from different environments, some from a home, some from a slum, some from, all the different places, and all the different backgrounds these other children have come from. How has this affected, Quinn, Levi,
Zach, yeah.
Zach, Hannah, and Abby?
For Quinn, Levi, and Zach, I think many times we felt like maybe we didn't hear God right, because why would you put your kids in an environment where they're hearing such stuff that's coming in? These kids have been through trauma and they've been exposed to things that you try to shield your kids from, and then you're bringing it into your home. And at some points, they're sharing a room.
And they're learning the bad words in
Thai. And I think many times we've wondered, are we hearing right? And the calling has never truly been in question, but the way we're walking it out, we haven't always done that, I think, the way that God has asked us. And so he's so good that when he'll show us a problem or something that is happening that shouldn't be, and then he doesn't whack you over the head because you didn't do it right. Yeah. No, he's just like, okay, let's regroup and let me show you a better way. Praise God, because the boys especially have been so impacted in a negative way by all of it, but they're also so soft. Levi especially, he shared with us that it had gotten to the place where he had heard the children cussing so much that that's what was going through his mind all the time, was cuss words. And he realized that he didn't want that, so God was able to show him who he was becoming because of his environment, and giving him an option so young. His environment couldn't be completely changed, but he could make different choices. And so I think that's really valuable to learn that so little. I'm not saying that there shouldn't have been things that we did differently that prevented that, but I do think that God really
God
has
was
worked
working
through
on
it.
him, with him one-on-one.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing with God, is that he works with each of us where we are. He didn't, just say, you're horrible parents. I'm taking your kids away from you, or,
Right.
But he was just like, okay, let's try a different way
Yeah.
to help these kids as well as these kids.
Right.
I can't imagine having that many kids from such a huge range of environments
Yeah.
and trying to balance, these ones need this and these ones need this and these ones need this, and but God knows which ones need what when. And
He does. He
Yeah.
also kept the Thai kids from because as we had to insulate the boys a little bit, there would definitely be an open door for the Thai kids to look at that and say,
they don't love us anymore.
yeah, they don't love
What?
us as much as they love them. But they were able to see some of, sometimes, well, we're saying these bad words. They're telling us we shouldn't say it. They don't want us teaching them. And so, as the kids become aware of their own example, like it didn't create a divide so much as it created more unity. And so only God can do that. Because
exactly.
Humans just mess that stuff up.
Well, praise the Lord that He's working with them through this.
Yeah. And our girls are, oftentimes people say, when are you going to get to your real life? When are you going to leave and go and start your real life or get married or whatever? And they hear that and they have those same desires. But I think that, what God's been able to do is remove them enough from their culture and those voices that would constantly be, if we had stayed, constantly be leading them in that direction. And instead, He's rooted them to the work that He's put in front of them. And so maybe someday He'll call them somewhere else. But for right now, they have a lot of contentment and they have so much love for the kids that we can be here and they're there and things are running just as well or better than when we're there. So
Probably better.
yeah.
Well, that's a relief, isn't it?
Yes, it
Especially if you
is.
think it's running better. It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Exactly.
thank you, Lord, for giving us this,
Humbling.
Yeah. But it's okay because it's all in His hands anyway.
Right.
I'm thankful that He's given you an opportunity to come and see some family and friends that you haven't been
We
able to
are
see
too.
for quite some time, and
Yeah.
and reconnect with some church members that I know have given over the years quite a
Yes.
bit, and
Yeah.
it's such a blessing to be able to see the donors and talk to them face
It
to
really
face.
is. To be
And
able to
share the stories
express
one-on-one.
gratitude.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I want to thank the two of you for being on here with me today and sharing the
you.
story of how God led. And we will be back shortly with another episode talking about where we're going from here and maybe some more of the stories.
Okay.
So I'd like to invite you to join us for the next episode with them. And also, if you would like to help the work that the Nortons are doing, you can contact us at Jesus for Asia, P.O. Box 1221, Collegedale, Tennessee, 37315. Call us at 423-413-7321 or visit our website at jesusforasia.org. May God richly bless you until we see you next time on Jesus for Asia Now.